after giving so much of yourself to people who not only don't appreciate it, especially when other people who may have gone through the same things that you did, or maybe they only went through a fraction of it, and they let it turn them cold and selfish and every man for themselves mentality, but you still reach out to those in darkness, maybe even they bite the hand that feeds them, so to speak. When you're trying to care for others, they do you harm. Eventually you get to a point where you might feel like, I can't trust anybody. You might think about closing yourself off. And I learned a valuable lesson this week, because although I hadn't cut people off, although I hadn't stopped loving and pushing my pain aside to be there for somebody else who was hurting or in the darkness, who couldn't find their way, I was toying with the idea that, you can't trust anybody. You can't trust anybody. And that's a dangerous thought to have. And that's the thing about thoughts. Thoughts are seeds. And whatever you plant will grow. To think that you can't trust anybody, that's a very dangerous seed. That's going to close you off from not only helping people and healing the world, and allowing yourself the connections that you need in order to have support and nurturing. It's going to stop you from having any kind of accelerated growth. It's going to stunt you to think like that. And luckily for me, even though I don't feel like I have the support or the equal exchange of energy that I give to other people in my immediate vicinity, I have, by chance and divinely guided, been connected with strangers that I can't explain any way of me bumping into them or knowing them other than it was orchestrated by God. And our lives resonate. Our experiences resonate in such a similar fashion that I can't not believe that it was not God cutting us some slack. Because it's hard out here. It's hard out here whenever you're alone and you're on a mission. Nobody understands it, and the world is different than you are. But because of those acquaintances and because of those friends, I was able to kill the sprouting of that seed that I can't trust anybody before it could bloom. Gosh, that was such a temptation. But I came to the conclusion, as I was talking to my friend Sarah Albert in Iowa. Shout out! Side ponytail. It's an inside joke. I just saw a dead bluebird on the side of the road. I'm going to have to remember to Google that later. What was I saying? Yeah, but thanks to her, I came to the conclusion, well, not just her, but through talking it out with her, it kind of came out that it's not about not trusting anybody. It's about being able to use your discernment. You don't have to block yourself off from people because, like I was telling her, if you are using your guidance system that is eternal and is essentially granted God by God and inside of you, which is a part of God. It's your connection. You have your own internal connection to Source, God, whatever you want to call it. And if you listen to that, it will always guide you and keep you on track. So you don't have to be in fear or be paranoid of what harm or pain the next person is going to do to you. You don't have to. You just go about your life, because honestly, there is a benefit in connections with people in general. Either it's going to be somebody that you gain something from because they can help enrich you with their knowledge or their experiences, or you can get some validation by sharing some of yours with them. Or it is going to be somebody that has malintentions for you, in which case you're probably going to learn a lesson that you personally needed some sharpening up in order for you to experience growth in your soul. So, don't ever be afraid to have experiences, but you have to use your discernment and listen to that inner guidance system in order to decide and to determine what you should proceed with, what is still valuable to you, where you're being valued at, and what is showing you red flags, and exactly what it is that you can learn from situations of such, and then apply them to your life and do better the next time the universe cycles that same lesson around to you in a different person's body. Because it happens. We all know it happens. There's lots of times lots of experiences that people have when they're like, man, no matter what I do, this just keeps happening to me. Like, crazy girls are always attracted to me. I always lose my money. Blah, 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 blah. Like, at some point, two more dragonflies. At some point, you have to recognize and take accountability for what it is that you're doing that is allowing you to stay stuck in the cycles. And I've often found that a good remedy is whenever you acknowledge that there are red flags with some situation, one of the best remedies in order for you to stop repeating cycles is a well-placed boundary. Sometimes it's hard, especially if you grew up without validation, or if you're a people pleaser, you always want to make people happy, or if you feel like you're lonely and you don't have anybody and you're one of those people where like something is better than nothing, and you have like 12 very low quality friends who don't pour into you. It's like having one really good friend is way better than that. And if you can't have one really good friend, trust me, no friends is okay too. Because it's in those quiet moments where you really are able to address your demons, so to speak, and to just allow yourself to block out the distractions and allow yourself to hear that inner guidance system. And maybe you're a person who needs to break habits of codependence. So whatever you do in life, don't ever give up. Don't try to have this woe is me mentality. You just keep pushing forward. And even whenever you're having hard times, you really need to send out thanks and gratitude for them. I know some people aren't going to appreciate or understand that message, but you really do. You really need to be thankful for them. Because if it wasn't for the hard times, you wouldn't have the accelerated growth that you're having. How was it? Let me try to see if I can remember this thing. But, Facebook memories, it was like a couple of years ago, I had a memory show up the other day, and I was having a really bad day that day. It just seemed like I had everything against me. And I told my teenage son in a woe is me moment that I think God is mad at me. I think God's mad at me. He hates me. I've done something. And he said, Mom, God is not mad at you. He has gifted you the gift of suck, which is like an endless gift card of opportunity. And I appreciate that, especially now, so much, because you know what? He was not wrong. And I wish that everybody could look at it like that. The gift of suck. An endless opportunity for growth. And I raised him. Not by myself, because it takes a village. But I'm so proud of him. Anyway, so if you're feeling like icing over that heart of yours, or giving up on society, or if you're all alone, just know that even whenever you're alone, you're not by yourself, because there's someone else out there who's alone in the world also. You might be in different locations, but you're alone together. We're having this experience together. And just keep pushing one foot in front of the other. And when you do have a woe is me moment, don't be so hard on yourself for feeling like you're a whiner or that you don't have growth. You're justified in feeling the way that you feel. But it's also your responsibility your reaction is also your responsibility, I guess is what I want to say. But you're not alone. I'm not alone either, even though it looks like that. And my friend Sarah, I can't remember who the artist is right now, Sarah. But she's always talking about this song where the lyrics are talking about walking the long road alone. And how sometimes you do meet somebody on your journey who can walk with you. So just know that you're not alone. I hope this message picks somebody up. I hope it makes somebody step away from the edge of that dangerous seed of I can't trust anybody. Just, keep doing what you do. Don't change your heart. Don't change yourself. Deep down you got a big heart and you don't want to see anybody hurting like you do. And sometimes you might try to save actual dark souls or evil entities, but then you forgive yourself for that. Once you realize it, you see the red flags, you use your discernment, you get out of the situation, you have growth. You've learned a lesson. But don't fear it because it hurts you. Maybe don't go into it with certain expectations. The only expectation you need to have is, I'm going to grow from this experience no matter what it is. And no matter what it is, I'm going to be grateful that I got to have it. Because I'm going to be a better person on the other side of this, no matter what it is. The only way that you can not grow is by doing nothing and being stagnant and hermiting and isolating yourself. So, maybe you feel like you're protecting yourself, but that's probably just the devil trying to keep you from growing into the powerful ass human being that you were meant to grow into, but it's not going to be given to you. You have to do the work. So, don't give up. No, you're not alone, and I love you.